Hello there. I'm so happy that you pressed play on this video. Mostly because I know there was a big aha moment recently. And have you ever had one of those moments where you feel like it's just thing on top of thing on top of thing? Or as you're trying to fix something or find a solution, you end up creating more issues. And sometimes that's a dynamic that is being created because something under the surface in our subconscious got used to that at some point. And sometimes we try to go about moving through something the exact same way that created it. One of my favorite quotes it's an Albert Einstein quote, and it's no problem can be solved by the same level of consciousness that created it. And if you're like, well, what does that really mean? Whatever created the issue in the first place, or whatever pattern was present, whatever behaviors or habits or ways of being that were present whenever that thing happened, is likely not going to be the way you transcend it, move beyond it, or move through it. So I'll give you an example, because this is an example from my personal life. I was a total perfectionist, and I tried to go about healing in a very perfectionist way in terms of being the perfect patient, doing all of the protocols, taking all of the supplements, seeing all of the best people for brain injury when that was that time in my life. Now, what actually got me better was when I finally started removing and releasing those patterns. And for me, my invitation to heal was to play again, was to find my own way forward and it not be where I'm needing to be perfect or I'm needing to get the protocol right. It was actually when I let go of the protocols and let joy and fun and more so energy be what allowed me to transcend that and to heal and to move from that reality into a new one. And there's so much more to that story, but that, if you want to know more, you can buy my book, Eat, Play, Love, A Recipe to Rewiring Your Brain, Finding Your Fun, and Rediscovering You Again. However, I really wanted to come in here to give you a tool and a new opportunity for something. So that's one extreme example. Something else could be, because this I get a lot when I'm working with clients, with parents in particular. A lot of parents come to me because they're triggered or overwhelmed by their child's big emotions or tantrums, that sometimes their child is literally running away from them, or kicking, hitting, throwing. And I just want to speak to that for a second. Sometimes, most of the time, that's really because your their sensory system might be overstimulated or overwhelmed. And they might actually be feeling the energy or the emotions of the collective family, of the collective, just what's going on around in the world. Or they just might have really big emotions that they don't know how to tend to, and it's coming out violently in big expressways because they haven't learned or experienced how to do that in a safe way. So I want to speak to that because every moment's a slightly teachable moment. And I also know that even knowing that can make those moments really hard because as a parent, you just want to make sure that your kid feels safe and that they know that they're loved and that they know that there's a way to move through those things and it not feel so hard. So one thing I'm putting out there that doesn't have to be so hard anymore. And maybe the intensity and the volume can be turned down. I also want you to just experience when I said those words, that the intensity and the volume can be turned down. Do you notice a shift already in your body of just taking that moment to imagine that response and that reality? Now, this is what I want to bring you into in an exercise today. So, there was a moment in publishing my book that everything was done. Everything. I had been through the multiple rounds of editing. I had done so much. Worked with the team. We did all of the things. We were having all the conversations we needed to have. And panic set in. There was this like fear that I was going to get in trouble. And some things that I'm like, maybe I need to get permission for this. Maybe I need to that. Maybe this is, oh my goodness, and freaking out. Now, in the end, everything was good. The book is totally good to come out. But there was a parallel there to the whole experience of going from issue, problem, sickness, needing to heal, to a brand new reality that everything's good. Everything feels great. And in my personal life, there were moments where it felt hard to stay in that because of the past ways of being, that it wasn't everything was great and there weren't challenges. There were a lot of challenges that felt like they needed to be tended to and supported and managed every day. And so it was this funny, weird wrap up that was reminding me of that it's like, no, this is my chance to take my power back. And this is the opportunity to finally let it land, to finally let it go, and to finally own going from one paradigm to another, one level of consciousness to another, and getting to stay there, while also knowing that if anything ever pops up, I know what to do. I've got the tools. And that's what I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with, that story, because it's relatable, even if it has nothing to do with what may be present in your life. But it could be a knowing that when you were a kid, you experienced trauma or a very conflict-ridden household or environment socially. And now, even though the life you've created or the family you've created or the dynamics you created literally aren't that, your nervous system got so used to that it's unsure what to do with all the harmony. And that's the exercise I want to leave you with, because it's safe to leave that behind and move into something new. And sometimes we're tempted to go into fixing and finding solutions and like, can I take this attachment course? Can I learn about XYZ so that I'm not in that trauma response anymore? Or so that I make sure I know exactly what to do in all situations. Sometimes that actually ramps up your nervous system response and that fight or flight response. And sometimes it's a pattern. Sometimes if you have the perfectionist pattern or the overachiever pattern, constantly learning, constantly doing, constantly finding the solutions is actually going to keep you there rather than the state that you want to be in. So I'm going to ask you this. Bring up into your consciousness whatever this is for you, whatever this situation is or this dynamic. So if it's like constantly attracting drama or conflicts that need to be solved, just let that be here. Become aware of it. If it's this dynamic, so I'm feeling like a push or pull dynamic in relationships, or it's good and then it's not, and then it's good and then it's not, or whether it is the example I shared about like, it feels like as a parent, your child is always experiencing challenges and it's like emotions coming out, tantrums coming out, running, hitting, blah, all the things. Or it could even be you're stressing about your house not being cleaned. Whatever it is. Whatever's that constant worry that keeps coming up as much as you would rather it not, or that thing that keeps you up at night. We're going to bring that up. Don't be afraid to bring it up because we're going to do something really cool with it in a second. Now, I want you to just imagine letting it come up and out of your body. Just dropping it. As if you're like jumping came up, but I was going to say like dumping it in a trash can or jumping up and down once you know it's no longer in you. Now, I want you to literally imagine how you do want to feel. if it was going exactly how you wished it would, how would that reality feel? So if it's the tantrum one, it could be, I'm sitting in the living room. My child is really happy. She's feeling safe in her body, and so am I. We're playing a game together. We're playing Connect 4, and our favorite songs are playing softly. And we're both giggling and smiling and sharing. And I just noticed that there's this sense of safety and this ability to communicate. And she's telling me the things that make her sad or that make her mad. And she's found the words. And I can hear her. And I don't take offense to it because I know that it's a really beautiful thing that my daughter feels safe enough to tell me what's going on for her. And that we can have those playful moments to just sit and be and share and care. And my house is clean. Everything around us is a reflection of the beautiful harmony and family that we've created. I want you to just breathe in this new reality for a minute. How do you feel now? Now, this might be something that you come back to every day. Like it's your vision of things going well, the opposite of the challenge or the stressor that you keep focusing on. But instead of focusing on it, you get yourself into the feeling of it working out. And notice how you staying in that feeling and then going back to your life, going back to being with your daughter or your child, you start to feel more relaxed. You start to feel the possibility. And the dynamic and whatever is going on starts to get closer and closer to that. Because instead of creating the idea that there would be these issues or these challenges or these triggers, you were creating this alternate paradigm and reality of whatever feelings you desired it to be while opening the space to those experiences happening. And just being in the possibility of it, while also knowing that going to that space in your mind, in your body, in your nervous system that dropped in when we slowed down and felt what that would feel like, that allowed you to feel calmer and in harmony, or whatever emotion was present for you, which allowed going back to anything a lot easier and for you to stay there in your body. I want you to try this. Tell me what shifted for you. If you want to give it a couple days to see, do that. And if you want some additional support, because it's like going to the gym, you can't just go once. You have to go multiple times, and sometimes we need a personal trainer or support or someone holding us accountable, but showing us some new things that we might not know. And you're looking for ongoing coaching and support with you and your dynamic with your child and a space to feel this way longer and have more support and tools to allow for that, and your nervous system to feel that calm, that regulated, and that harmonious in your family, you can let me know. Hit reply. We can get you on a call and we will chat. And I would love to get to know you and your family and your vision, because whatever vision is in your heart for how your family gets to co-create and co-regulate is there for a reason, and it's possible.